need a wire tool. And you're gonna need a wooden angle tool, and I don't think I have one. This bin has two. This happens a lot, where like one bin will have two of one tool. They just get traded, and it's not anybody's doing anything wrong. It just happens. So you're gonna need a wooden angle tool, for sure. You're gonna need a wire tool, for sure. And you're gonna need a sponge, for sure. All right, so you might wanna mark that down in your notes. These are the critical tools that you're gonna need. This is called a wooden angle tool. It's actually on your final exam. There's a picture of it, and it says, what's it called? Wooden angle tool. I don't know how to make it easier. Sponge, wire tool. Those are the things you're gonna need for sure. Now, probably the most common question that students ask me is, how much clay do I need? A good amount is about slightly larger than your fist. All right, now I'll get students like Hogan. What are you gonna say when I say slightly larger than your fist, Hogan? What are you gonna say? My fist is a whole lot bigger than your fist. Huh, that's a good illustration, right? So here's the thing. If you have larger hands, you're gonna want to start with a larger amount of clay. All right, so that's why I say your fist is a good place to start. Because if you are like Grace is much more my size, she's gonna start with a little bit smaller amount of clay. If you're like Hogan and you have bigger hands, it's actually gonna be easier for you to use a slightly larger amount of clay. So this is clearly too big. I'm gonna cut that down, and that is gonna be about the size of my fist. That's gonna be a good amount to start with when you're very first throwing. Make sure I wrap up the rest of my clay, because clay is a commodity right now. Now, when you are first starting throwing the wheel, you want to start with a nice smooth ball of clay. If your ball of clay has a bunch of cracks and wrinkles, if your ball of clay has a bunch of cracks and wrinkles in it, you're going to struggle, so you want to make sure you get it smooth. Now, it doesn't have to be a perfect ball of clay, but you don't want a bunch of cracks and wrinkles in the clay. Now, potter's wheel. Let's talk briefly about the parts. This is called the deck. I often tell you to clean off the deck. These are the splash guards. This is what keeps us from getting splashed everywhere. Then we have the pedal, which is down here, is the power. All right? It's like a car. When you sit down at your wheel, you want to check that the on-off power switch is switched on. All right, so now I know all the parts of my potter's wheel. I know this is a bat, it's sitting on the wheel head. So now I'm ready to put my clay on. All right, stop.